Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. So today's video is basically one of those videos that we kind of have to look at because this is going to be a very important matter for Massive to sort out right now. So we have seasons. We had Warlords of New York come out. Warlords of New York was a grand idea. I'm going to say it as a Division agent, a fan. I'm going to say it was a grand idea. Execution in my mind was not flawless, and a lot of things happened, and now the game is in a very strange place where most of the community, the player base, have actually vacated the game. Now, if you think about the future of the Division game, you think about year 3, or if there's going to be a year 3. I think there will be. I think there is a plan for year 3. But if there's going to be a year 3, who's going to play this year 3? Who's going to be sitting around waiting to play year 3 when some of the basic things in the game have not been addressed? Now, the developers are very good at acknowledging. Somebody was telling me based on my last video when they talked about the loot difficulty scaling that, they acknowledged it during the state of the game, because I kind of just, once they went announcing the raid, I sort of just lost interest. Now, I have to clarify something, and I replied, is Massive is very good at acknowledging problems. We acknowledge the problem. Yeah, we acknowledge that this is a thing, but that means nothing. For those of you who've watched over 100 State of the Games, you know when Massive is just trying to stall. It's just one of their tactics that they use to say, yeah, we've acknowledged the problems. Or when back in the day, Yannick used to say, oh yes, we are aware of, these issues. And that's basically what it was. It was just their awareness. But what actions were they going to take? Those actions were nothing. Now, you guys know I'm a Division fan. For the last, over the past few weeks, I took a lot of flack for, being somebody who was always, pointing the positive lights of the game. And I did that because a lot of the other side of the community was very negative. So I countered the argument just as a sport. And I think I was quite, it was quite an exercise to actually engage in. But that didn't mean that I lost my sight of the problems within the game, because I want the game to succeed. But at that point, some people had single-handedly done things to try to ruin this game, and they felt like they were entitled to their actions. And so I, in my own little, corner, I tried my best to stick up for a game that I like. At the same time, I'm able to tell you that this game is now at a point where if they don't do some things, they're going to lose the entire relevance that Tom Clancy's The Division holds. Now, let's go and do some history. So remember, this first quarter or whatever of the year, second quarter, was supposed to see the release of some really strong titles. We saw Dying Light 2 get postponed. We saw Avengers get postponed. We saw Cyberpunk 2077 get postponed. A lot of people talked about probably wanting to go into Resident Evil or Final Fantasy VII, but it just happened to be that Final Fantasy VII is kind of a splice of the entire game, which did not necessarily appeal to a lot of people, while at the same time Resident Evil 3 was also kind of a splice continuation of Resident Evil 2. So both companies, Square Enix and Capcom, did not deliver what people were thinking they would deliver. And that was the saving grace for Tom Clancy's The Division 2. The developers now had an opportunity to find a way to get their fans something that the fans needed. And fortunately for many of us, Warlords of New York came out. So that was something where people said, oh, the game that I have, there's an expansion. People engaged it. And then we had broken systems and exploits, which led to many events and a lot of sour, feeling within the community. Now, the developers have delivered Warlords of New York. They've made their money, and they're going to be bringing a raid. Once this raid comes out and we play the raid for the next few months, I wonder if they're going to address the issues that are still there with loot, armor system, and some other mechanics within the game. And if they don't do this, they're going to be playing this silly game that they've been playing, carrot on a stick thing, and waltz themselves into the extreme competition of the next generation. Right now, even though E3 has been canceled, in the background, there's so much that's going on. Our Summer Games Fest is going to be running all the way from May through August, where different companies are going to be revealing games that they have. And going into holiday 2020, new consoles going to be coming out. And I don't know if they even have any plan to say anything about this game until all of that hype is actually gone somewhere, or if they want to compete. Because I think, and this is going to be a certainty, that once a lot of these new games start to come out, a lot of people will put down The Division 2 and move on and never come back. I don't want that to happen. You know, and even if some people already have moved on and, you know, are not going to be coming back, why not take care of your player base right now so that you are able to at least down the road allow for you know, a good relationship with other Ubisoft titles or other Massive titles. Because yes, we know Massive is working on another video game. It's titled Avatar. They've been working on this game for about perhaps 3 years right now. I think they announced it in 2017. I might be wrong. And so we're probably thinking 3-4 more years before this game comes out, probably coming out on the next generation. But you don't want to leave that kind of, you know, reputation with the community right now. So there are some things that are going on. There are rumors that one of the lead designers who designs weapons is no longer working on, you know, the Division 2. Now, he may be working on another project, and I think that project might be Avatar. They probably want to implement some systems from the Division there. I don't know. I don't know anything. It's just speculation. But at the same time, they kind of abandoned. This doesn't mean, though, that they've abandoned everybody, that they've abandoned the Division 2. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, if they're going to support Division 2 and end out its life to move on to another title, then this is the time they need to start answering these questions. Because yes, even if the Division solves a lot of its issues right now and we get all these other games, I think people will be willing to pick up the game when they're taking a break from their other titles. And if the Division never solves the problems, then people would rather just spend money buying another title that's worth their time rather than coming back to a game to grind for what? A game where you play and play and play and you don't necessarily get the exotic items that you're trying to get. The games as a service model is apparently designed to, you know, keep you in a place where you're just running in a circle. And we players, you know, thinking that we're going to eventually find some fun experience in there, we continue playing and then we eventually get frustrated. And so that's perhaps what's going on right now in the Division. And I know a lot of people tell me, you know, this game is dead, you keep doing this. But the truth is I play other games too. Well, I play one other game, and that kind of gives me a little, I can take a break from the Division extensively and enjoy another game. I play Mortal Kombat 11. There's another DLC dropping, but that game's also facing its issues that I'm probably not going to be buying that DLC. That's how rough that game is right now with a lot of the problems. You know, some buttons don't work. Sometimes it seems like the OS wants you to lose, and you lose a game because, you know, your block button did not work and you were blocking, yet the person just opens you up. And I think it's probably something where there might be an odds type of thing. I'm not saying that Mortal Kombat has what FIFA has. FIFA has a problem too, where some little child can school you because the system is designed to mess you up after you've had so much progress, and they staunch you. The Division does its own by just using numbers to staunch the player as well, so that the player never ever gets or achieves the maximum level, you know, of strength and capability that that player has. And plus, with everything else being thrown your way, it's easy to chase all kinds of different rabbits where you're working on a build right now and then you find another item and you're like, ooh, then you run ahead and start using that item and trying to maybe find a build around it. All in all, it increases the complexity, and then if nothing finally gets to a min-max point, then it also increases the frustration. So I hope Massive will be, at least in my opinion, you know, more transparent as to where and what direction they're going, because largely it just seems like they're just having to waltz their way through all of this. We can understand that, you know, there were some issues that came up in March where people had to stay home. We can understand, you know, that, you know, bugs do exist in video games. I can give some concession about that. But I think now is the time for them to make some serious moves. If they do not make these serious moves, then there is that possibility, because right now they've been giving too much of a lifeline. I mean, they're very fortunate. I mean, look at all the games that were supposed to come out by April or May, or even the one that got leaked that now is going to be coming out in June. You know the one I'm talking about. If your ears are in the gaming community, The Last of Us 2, there were leaks all over the place. And then now the game is going to be released earlier than the indefinite timeline that they put for it. You see that the Division really got an extra, you know, leg, and it did not. And the developers, the planning, the leadership did not make the best use of that opportunity to engage the community and provide some meaningful experience. And I think this is one of the more frustrating things for me when I'm looking at Massive's pattern as a studio. Yes, I'm okay with the way they've executed some things, but I'm also really sad in a way that they have just let opportunities slide away from their hands. I mean, look at all the time that they got. Now, I have to also concede the raid may have been something they've been cooking up, and that might be something that allows for players to maybe come back and experience. But still, we're probably going to have that same burnout happen again because people are going to want to take strong builds in there. Yes, they might come back, experience the raid, see what it's about. Who knows? They might put a discovery where people can matchmake and kind of experience what the raid is about before they go into the other stuff. But hopefully these systems are there in place where people don't come back looking like, okay, what's here right now for me to do? And then they just, they bounce. Because if they bounce, June is bringing out, one solid, I wouldn't say solid, The Last of Us 2. I would hold my judgment and reserve that till I see what the game is about. But July is going to be bringing out Ghost of Tsushima and a few other games. But then by August, announcements will be going out finally of what's going to be coming in holiday. And people are going to want to keep their money and keep their bucks. So if Massive is not providing any value here in season, in year 2, then I don't know, man, if people are going to be willing to spend extra money for year 3. I do not know. They need to step up the game right now. And it's very important that they do so. So that's basically my video for today. Thank you so much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys for listening to the video and watching. If you've not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. We talk about the Division content and issues surrounding the game and the community. And I will see you guys in my next video, hopefully. Peace out.